So what does the situation in Venezuela mean for the energy market? Let's ask top oil analyst Paul Sankey, president of Sankey Research. Paul, it's good to see you. And how are you thinking about the events in Venezuela, Cuba, as it relates to the oil price?
Yeah, I think the market perceives it to be potentially bearish, obviously, if you were to change regime and then open up. But of course, it's going to be a knee-jerk reaction. The reality of the barrels coming back to the market will likely take much longer, but certainly the immediate reaction would be negative as regarding the potential for more supply from Venezuela.
You know, it is interesting, Paul, that we're talking about possible regime change in Venezuela. We're boarding oil tankers. We're rerouting the oil to Texas, and the price of oil is up, yeah, a couple percent, but it's still at $58 in the United States. That alone is probably the biggest message, I think, about oil inventories and the state of psychology around oil right now.
Yeah, and as you know, Brian, we've thrown everything at this oil price. We really have. I mean, you've even got in the background here more talk of Israel, Iran, just to add to everything that's going on. And of course, as you well know, there seems to be a significant issue with Russia, Ukraine. So it is disappointing, and it just tells you how much supply is out there.
You know what is, I think, maybe the most surprising thing in the markets, obviously the Venezuela news aside, Paul, is that when I look at my screens, I'm looking at a BP, just got a new CEO. Stock's up, 18% this year. Shell is up about the same this year. Total Energies. The European majors, which people wrote off as dead because they were making all the wrong moves, they have made investors a lot of money this year. Comment on that, and then also what you see or what you think might happen in 2026.
Well, as you know, Brian, there's been a significant rally in European stocks as well. I mean, if you had been long Rheinmetall, for example, the German defense company, you would have outperformed Palantir this year. So, yeah, they've gone up. I don't think investors are terribly enthusiastic about them. But, yeah, there is change there. And I think generally the market has begun to think about the next phase of the oil market post-oversupply and actually started buying into the oils. You can see it in a very levered name like Transocean rig going up in the fourth quarter quite a bit as people are doing a very contrarian trade, basically, quite frankly.
Yeah, Paul, I do find it a bit odd when I stand back and look at all of these trades. You have all of the metals flying, which are in various parts of we're going back to internal combustion engine, a la, platinum. That's Jeff Curry's pick. The economy's not in recession. There's demand for everything. We're ending the energy transition to some extent, where it's not as aggressive as it was a few years ago. So where's the bid for oil? It seems like that's the last logical part of this story. I hope it's not. As a consumer, I'm happy to pay lower gasoline prices, but I understand those who say it's going up next year. Why is the market perceived to be in a glut of oil, and how much longer can that glut last?
I think it's the supply side. I think that these metals that you're talking about have supply issues clearly, and as you say, there's a lot of demand, massive demand for them, and that's the balance. Whereas in oil, if you think oil is cheap at 60, try natural gas at 4. That's $20 a barrel of oil equivalent. So the supply side is abundant here, and I think additionally people don't tend to think too hard about technology, which obviously relates to the supply side and the ability of these companies to continue delivering. As you know, U.S. production up still with a much lower rig count is telling you that productivity is strong in the supply side.
And it can remain so, because that's kind of an argument against owning some of these stocks.
That's the $6 billion question, is when will we see the rollover, particularly in U.S. supply? Absolutely, because as we've said, there's a lot of issues around the world with, Russia is formerly the biggest producer in the world, one of the top 3 biggest producers, having major issues. The other thing we haven't mentioned, by the way, to think about with Venezuela is refining. Refining was a huge industry. Venezuela actually has the world's biggest single refinery. It doesn't run, but
it doesn't run.
No, I shouldn't laugh. It's over 1 million barrel a day of capacity. So, it's another angle. And then I think the other one that confuses me is just the whole Cuba angle and where the administration is going with this. It's been a bit of a surprise that, that there has been this issue going after Venezuela to the extent they have, quite frankly. And it seems that there's a Cuba angle here as well that you've referenced.
Yeah.
One wonders if Cuba will help us resolve the Maduro issue.
Just to be clear, by the way, Brian, I should say that a source in the State Department told me that this is about lowering the oil price. I mean, this was obviously off the record, but that's what I was told, the Venezuela thing. So, it is pretty bearish.